Well, we were together, well, my father was 58, my mother, she was 43, my brother, who was 22, I was 21, my sister was 19, my brother was 16, other brother was 14, sister was 8, and the little brother was 5. We're trying to keep together and go along on the road, what have been told by this brave SS.
The trial of Adolf Eichmann began in the spring of 1961. During the Holocaust, Eichmann had been an SS lieutenant colonel. He was directly responsible for the deportation of most of the Jews of Western, Central and Southern Europe to their deaths in camps located in Eastern Europe. The trial was the focus of worldwide attention. It was a dramatic story, an SS officer accused of the murder of Jews defending his life in a courtroom in the capital of the Jewish state.
When I stand before you, judges of Israel, in this court, to accuse Adolf Eichmann, I do not stand alone. Here with me at this moment stand 6 million prosecutors, but alas, they cannot rise to level the finger of accusation in the direction of the glass dock and cry out, "J'accuse," against the man who sits there, because their ashes have been piled up in the mounds of Auschwitz and the fields of Treblinka, or spilled into the rivers of Poland, and their graves are scattered throughout the length and breadth of Europe. Their blood cries to heaven, but their voice cannot be heard. Thus it falls to me to be their mouthpiece and to deliver the heinous accusation in their name.
And we knew something awful would happen. At that moment, a number of Germans entered our house. One of them stood at the entrance, blocked the entrance. The others scattered in the rooms and began searching and began driving out people who were not yet in hiding. Whoever would pass through the entrance would absorb a blow from a rubber baton on his head, and he would fall down right there. When I saw that, I wanted to avoid being beaten this way. I ducked, and I jumped out, and I managed not to receive this blow.
And
I mixed with that multitude. I tried to stop along the way to see whether I could find out what would happen to my family, whether they had been found out or not. I thought if I was on the edge, perhaps I could see them coming and I could join them. Unfortunately, however, I saw my mother, my small brother and uncle and other Jews included in the group of those people who were found out, and my little brother then told me later that they were beaten severely. And then we marched together in that direction where we were driven.
On the way, other Jews joined you?
Other Jews joined us. They would just be driven out of the homes along the way.
How many were you finally?
So
you walked 1,000 men, 1,000 people.
Yes, I was near my mother. We worked with these children.
Mother in the center and you and your brothers on her sides.
That's how it was. I was on her right, my little brother on her left. That's how we proceeded.
What did Mother say?
She said, say Shema Israel, recite the prayer of Shema Israel, we shall die as Jews. We were brought to the marketplace in the middle of the town. We were told to kneel, heads down. We were not permitted to lift our heads. Whoever did so would either be shot right through the head or would be beaten. Of course, we saw from the corner of our eyes that people who tried to run away were shot right there. When we got there, approximately 100 yards from the cemetery, we were told to get off the road. Again, we had to kneel, heads down. We were not permitted to raise our heads or look aside. We only heard shots from the sides. And I was small then. I was shorter than the others. I could raise my head without being discovered. And I saw in front of me a long trench, about 25 yards long, maybe 30. They began leading us row after row, group after group. We were led to that trench. People were undressed. Then they would have to go on that little hill which was near the trench. Machine gun bursts were heard and they would fall into the trench.
So that people were given one kind of certificate so that they could register the wife and 2 children.
How did a man receive such a certificate?
Not every Jew could get a certificate of this kind, a certificate of survival. He had to have another certificate proving that he was an expert. But shoemakers, farriers who could work for the war effort. There was also a number of physicians to treat the sick in the ghetto. But intellectuals, rabbis, shoheds, judges, writers, newspapermen, they were superfluous. They were regarded as people unfit for work, and they were not entitled to the certificate of survival.
And a man would come home and say, Mother.
The man would come back home and he would say, look here, Mother, I have got a certificate, but I can either put on the certificate yourself or my wife. One of you would have to hide somewhere in a bunker. Perhaps you will be lucky to survive, or perhaps not. And if I have 3 children, I can only put the name of the 2 of them on the certificate, and the third has got either to be hidden or will have to be captured by the Germans. I remember one man who came to his mother and said, Mother dear, advise me what to do. You know the situation. Now I can take either you or my wife. And the mother said, it is written in our Holy Bible,
a man shall